Cleveland, 1879. Midnight fog clings to the rail yard. Lanterns swing like small suns in a forest of iron. On track 12, a chain of black tank cars shudders, then rolls past the red lights meant to hold them still. On track 14, rival cars wait behind a silent signal that never turns green. The price of oil is falling. Not everywhere, only where one company decides it will. That isn't luck. That is a system. Rebates inked in quiet rooms, drawbacks paid on competitors' shipments, contracts that turn tracks into arteries, timetables into policy. We will follow the wires that made it possible, and the paper that made it legal. This is how Standard Oil captured a nation's fuel, and why the law finally broke it apart. Not a myth of a great man, a manual of methods. Watch the signals. Before the monopoly, there is a boom. In the hills of Pennsylvania, derricks sprout like a forest after rain. Barrels crowd muddy roads. Fortunes slosh in wagons. The oil rush rewards speed and punishes waste. In Cleveland, a young bookkeeper learns to distrust both. John D. Rockefeller tallies numbers, watches cash flows, and finds peace in a ledger balanced to the cent. While others gamble, he trims. While others celebrate a sale, he measures its cost. He and partners build a refinery and then build another. Steam turns valves in rhythm. Acids wash impurities from crude. Barrels roll in rows like soldiers drilled to a metronome. Efficiency is not romance, but it is a kind of power. In 1870, they found Standard Oil of Ohio, a promise tucked inside a title. Standard, one quality, predictable, one price, reliable. The market is chaos. Rockefeller sells control. Railroads knit the continent, but they are not benevolent. They sell distance by the mile and favor by the handshake. The posted rate is for posters. Rebates whisper a second price. Standard Oil negotiates contracts that make its shipments cheaper than anyone else's, and then sweeter still. Drawbacks, a payment made to Standard on oil shipped by its competitors. Imagine being paid when your rival moves product. It is not competition, it is gravity. Then a new plan emerges, the South Improvement Company. A triad of refiners and railroads agrees to raise rates for everyone and secretly rebate the cartel. Information on competitors' shipments will flow to the insiders. If enacted, the market ceases to be a market. It becomes a script. Word leaks. The oil regions explode. Derrick owners, teamsters, jobbers, men who dug and hauled, gather in angry halls. Newspapers print the rate tables like wanted posters. The plan collapses under protest. But not the idea. The most dangerous weapon in a business war is a calendar. After the South Improvement Plan burns, Standard moves quickly, quietly. Options are delivered to Cleveland refiners with the calm of a clerk and the pressure of a verdict. Sell now at a fair price and keep a title on the door. Join us and keep your pride. Refuse and watch rates rise around you while your shipments slow. 1 week a refiner resists, the next he signs. Men who built plants from nothing hand over keys, some relieved, some ruined. The city's map changes color. Competitors become subsidiaries, neighbors become departments. The newspapers will call it the Cleveland Massacre. The ledgers will call it consolidation. The train schedules will call it efficiency. In 1872, the grammar of monopoly is still being written. You cannot control oil with just a refinery. You must control how it moves. Pipelines creep over hills like iron roots. Tank cars roll with a company's name on their sides. Warehouses become strategic reserves. Storage is time converted into leverage. Pipelines beat rails. No weather delays. Lower cost per barrel, No bargaining with switching yards staffed by men with their own demands. Where pipelines cannot reach, contracts do. A small clause in the distance can set a market in the present. And always, the margins squeeze. A cent saved here, half a cent there. Across millions of gallons, cents become swords. Competitors who live on yesterday's margins find tomorrow has none. Bodies are heavy. Paper is light. The Standard Empire becomes a trust. In 1882, dozens of companies sign an agreement placing their shares into the hands of trustees. In return, the owners receive certificates. Control rises upward, away from state laws that tried to limit one company's reach. A trust can unify prices across states. A trust can plan capacity like a general plans a campaign. A trust can speak softly to the law while speaking loudly to the market. When courts glance too closely, subsidiaries appear to compete with their cousins. They do not. When regulators try to count, the names multiply like reflections. Which entity is Standard Oil? The signature says, "It depends." A woman sharpens a pencil in a magazine office lit by winter light. Ida Minerva Tarbell is the daughter of a small refiner who felt the weight of Standard's methods. She does not write to avenge a father. She writes to examine a system. For McClure's magazine, she gathers contracts, letters, and court records. She interviews rivals who folded, managers who stayed, lawyers who explain how the law can be bent without quite breaking. She prints names, dates, figures, history as ledger. Her series does not invent outrage, it organizes it. Readers see, for the first time, the architecture of a monopoly, the long shelf where secret rates are stored, the staircase that leads from rebates to ruin. Standard responds with pamphlets and spokesmen arguing that its size is a gift to the public. Lower prices, uniform quality, stable supply. Both can be true today, while competition withers for tomorrow. Congress passes the Sherman Antitrust Act in 1890. Its language is simple and slippery. Conspiracies in restraint of trade are unlawful. What is a restraint? The courts will decide. States file cases. Federal attorneys gather exhibits. Standards Council argues, we competed harder, integrated smarter, reduced prices, invested in pipes and tanks, punish success, and you punish progress. The government answers, integration is not the crime. Coercion is. Rebates that strangle rivals, secret payments that tax competitors' shipments, acquisitions made under the threat of starvation. These are not the fruits of merit, but of manipulation. In 1911, the Supreme Court adopts the rule of reason. Combination is not automatically illegal. Unreasonable restraints are. Standard Oil is unreasonable. The order, dissolve. Break a mirror and you still have reflections. The decree creates 34 successor companies. They take the names of states and cities and hold refineries, pipelines, tankers, brands. Then, a paradox. The parts rise. Freed to grow as separate firms, several surge in value. John D. Rockefeller's fortune grows as markets price the future of a family of companies that will, under other names, carry oil into the 20th century. The court broke the structure, not the system. The trust is gone. The playbook remains. What remains when a monopoly is dissolved? Tools, preferential access to infrastructure, vertical integration, paper architectures that shift control faster than law can count, public relations that turns efficiency into virtue and scale into inevitability, lobbying that converts argument into statute. This is not the story of a villain twirling a mustache. It is the story of methods that outlived their inventor. Some defend them as the price of progress. Others warn that when power grows too quiet, markets forget how to argue, and democracy forgets how to say no. The breakup of Standard Oil did not end oil. It did not end concentration. It taught lawmakers a language and corporations a counter-language. We live with both. Remember the signals at midnight. When a red light stays red for everyone, we call it the rule of law. When a green light shines for one, we should ask where the switch is and who is paid to hold it.